Thank you, Doctor. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for allowing me a little bit of time today to talk to you about AI and a lot of things gaming related. Now, one of the things that you may ask yourself right now is, why is a person that is from a gaming company talking to you today, right? And one of the main reasons is that, and we've heard a couple of comments here today already, that the students that we are dealing with is a different breed, right? They're a different generation. They learn differently. They want to learn differently, right? Now, I did see there's one or two students here today as well, and that were part of our game jam that we did last year. And it's a very informative, very learning-orientated experience. But the reality of gaming is that gaming delivers the ability to transfer skills, specifically 4IR, 5IR skills, to students that have the capacity or the ability or the want to learn in a specific way in terms of gaming, right? So gaming has the ability to do that. But today we are going to be talking a little bit about AI. Now, how do these two link together? Now, besides the fact that they are both technical ways of doing things, they also sit very closely together from an industry standard, right? So you've heard AI and gamification in various different ways and formats this morning already. And of course, in gaming specifically, AI is becoming more and more prevalent as a way of learning. But what I'm going to be showing you today a little bit later on is something that we created that is practical in a learning sense, right? Because sometimes what happens is when we talk about AI, it's very difficult for us to envisage what that actually means in a learning environment, right? Do you agree with that concept, guys? Show me your hand if you agree with me, then I at least have some feedback. It's difficult to understand, what does AI and learning actually mean? And hopefully today I can show you a practical example, but before we get to that, I think it's important to understand, when we talk about AI, this is a massive, massive concept, right? It's very big. And the reason why I say it's very big is I put together this matrix that gives you an idea of just how big and how far AI stretches today, right? So as we stand today, these are tools, AI tools, that are available to everyone, right? These are not specific that you have to be in a specific group, or you have to have a specific literacy. These tools can be found and they are available. So I like to make this session a little bit more interactive. My presentation is not long, it's about 20 minutes, and I've allowed a little bit of time for some questions and answers, which I'm sure there will be. But by show of hands, if we look at casual users, right, casual users of AI, text AI, ChatGTP. So raise your hand for me if you've ever used it, or a similar tool than ChatGTP. Okay, so a lot, right? A lot of people use it to ask questions, right? That's what that second block is. I ask questions. I want answers on things. But how many of you have used it for image editing? Raise your hands again. Okay, so less hands, right? Okay. How many of you have used it in a speech format? Okay, so almost a similar amount of hands as editing. Okay, let's go down one level, right? In terms of analysis, how many of you have used AI to analyze anything? Raise your hands. Oh, this is a different crowd, né? More analysts here. Okay, good. How many of you have asked the AI, in terms of the whatever you analyzed, to summarize that for you? Okay, so same amount of people, right? How many of you have used upscaling tools? Do you know what upscaling is? Okay, so upscaling is enhancing something that AI has already created. So it's, for example, you're asking AI for an image, it gives you something. Just by show of hands, 9 out of 10 times, have you ever gotten exactly what was in your mind when you asked it the first time? Okay, so sometimes you have to ask it to upscale. You have to change it. You have to enhance what AI has already created, right? How many of you have done that? Show of hands. Okay, quite a few of you. Which is interesting, because a lot of people think that when you ask AI, you get the right answer the first time. And I see a lot of shaking heads going on, because that's also not true, right? Okay, how many of you have done video on AI? Okay, a little bit less. How many of you have used it for translation? language translations. Okay, so a big need, right? Big need for language translation. Let's go down one level. How many of you have used AI to create some sort of program? Okay, few hands, still good. How many of you have asked AI to recommend changes on making the program more proficient? Okay, a little bit less. How many of you have asked it to create the visual aspects of that program? Give me a user interface, create a UI, a little bit. Okay, CSS, good. All right. Now I put there Music Plus, because that means how many of you have taken all of the above information and put it into a single thing? Does that sound daunting to you? Okay. And that inherently then spits out something at the end, which is code, right? Which is what the metaverse technology programs rely on. Now, considering all of this information, if I now say to you, I would like you to use AI in education, where do you start? Is there anyone with a comment? If I told you that all these things are available to teachers to help in education, where would you start? There must be someone here that has an idea. Yes, ma'am. Can we get a mic over here?
Maybe it's too simple an answer. Start with what you know, and then look for something that's going to help you make that better and augment it.
Good answer. We have another one over there.
I would agree entirely with it. We have a tendency to do deficit thinking, and we think we don't know things, and we think computers do. It's the other way around. You do know things, computers need to learn from you.
Excellent. So, first of all, I do think your answers are 100% correct, right? Because the reality is for most of us as people, when I show you this slide, some of you for the first time saw that, oh, can you do that with AI? Raise your hand if you agree. There's a lot of intelligent people here, so there's not going to be a lot. But some of these things are foreign to a lot of people. They don't know they can use AI with it. Now, when you talk about using AI in education, and you expect educators to now apply their minds and go, what can I do with this? This in itself is a hard job, because there's just so much, right? There's just so much to do, and there are so many tools that are available. But we went through the same exercise, and we felt exactly like you did. Where do we start? And we started by saying, by doing this, by building a matrix and saying, how are people consuming AI? And what are easy and intelligent ways for people to actually consume AI? And do we then want to build a tool that can facilitate that process? So we went through that. Now, granted that this morning, it took us all but 10 minutes to come up with that answer. It took us slightly longer, but we got to the same answer, right? And the answer was to make it as easy as possible for people to be able to consume AI information. So what I would like to do, and I don't know if it's going to play straight away, or maybe the team will have to help me with that. What I want to do is I want to play you a video, and this is of something that we created. Now, once this video is played, I'm going to open it up for some conversation, because I do think there will be questions about this, right? And the reason why we created it, how we created it, and really the fundamentals and the principles for creating this tool, right? Guys?
Hi there, my name is Brenton. How are you?
Hi, Brenton. It's great to meet you. Welcome to the GN Conservation Hub. I'm doing well, thank you. How about you? Are you interested in learning more about what we do here?
I'm doing good, thank you. I'm actually quite interested to find out about the AI that you're using here.
That's fantastic to hear, Brenton. Our AI systems at the GN Conservation Hub are really cutting edge. We utilize AI-driven surveillance technology to monitor and
Got you.
protect wildlife.
How has AI transformed the way you approach rhino conservation efforts, especially in tracking and monitoring their populations?
No worries at all, Brenton. AI has truly revolutionized our approach to rhino conservation. With AI-powered drones and thermal imaging, we're able to track rhino movements more accurately and ensure their safety. The predictive analytics models help us analyze poaching patterns and allocate resources effectively, which is crucial in areas like KZN. Rhino identification through AI assists in monitoring populations and understanding their dynamics better. It's about
What intrigues me the most would definitely be that I don't know how you predict or detect poaching activity in rhino habitats. Like, what kind of data does your AI model rely on to make predictions?
That's a great question, Brenton. Our AI models rely on a variety of data sources to predict and detect poaching activity. We use historical data on poaching incidents, weather patterns, and human activity in and around the reserves. Have you ever worked with AI or data analysis in any field?
I can't say that I have, no. Tell me something. Is that a rhino there behind you?
Yes, that's David behind me. He's a very special rhino here at the Conservation Hub, and we're
And
currently monitoring
Is there
him
anyone else
closely.
from your team here today?
Yes, my colleague Joseph is here today. He's incredibly knowledgeable, especially when it comes to veterinary care and conservation efforts. If you have any questions or need more detailed information, he's the go-to person. Would you like me to introduce you to him?
Yes, please take me to him. I'm ready.
Great. Let's head over to Joseph. He's always excited to share his expertise and insights on our work here. Follow me.
Hi there, Joseph. How are you today?
G'day. I'm doing quite well, thank you. Just here with David, making sure he's on the mend. How about yourself?
I'm doing quite good, thank you. How is David doing today?
Glad to hear you're doing well. David's doing quite all right today. He's been moving around a bit more, which is a good sign. His wounds are healing nicely, and he has even shown some interest in socializing with the other rhinos. It's always a relief to see progress.
Well, thank you both for your time today. I really appreciate it. It was lovely meeting you both.
It was lovely meeting you too, Brenton. Thank you for your interest in our work and for taking the time to visit. If you have any more questions or just want to check in on David, feel free to reach out anytime. Take care.
There we go. All right, did you like that? Okay, good, nice. If you're clapping, by the way, the developer is right at the back there, and that's also him that was speaking to Zola, right? So Zola is an AI that we created. Now it would be interesting for you to understand, if you know anything about gaming, right in the beginning of that video, you saw something that said Unreal Engine. Did you see it? Right, that's a gaming engine. It's an engine that people use to create games. But within that engine, there's a built-in AI. So what has happened is we have found a way to gamify content for people to have a seamless experience in learning something new through engaging conversation. That is exactly what has happened there. Now, the interesting thing about building it in a gaming environment is that we have given AI something that AI has not had before, right? And what is that? Is there an intelligent person here that knows what that might be? What is a gaming environment, guys? It's a 3D space. And did you see when Brenton asked Zola, take me to the other person? Zola knew where that person was. The AI obtained spatial awareness. Right now, imagine This is just a video and one example for something that we built. This was, by the way, this was for a internationally famous organization that wanted to focus on teaching children about rhino conservation and wanted an innovative and easy way to do so. So think about it like a field trip, for example, that you go out for the day into the metaverse, you converse with a specialist, or what is these days called an AI agent, a specialist within a particular field, and there's a whole conversation happening between you and the AI, and we all know that the best way to learn is through conversation, right? When we talk to people, that's also how we learn. We converse. There's questions. How is the rhino doing? What does it eat? Where does it roam? How do you get the data? But what I want you to think about right now is bigger than that, just this. Imagine we build the same environment where there is, I don't know, people that look after sea life, as an example. Imagine we take it one step further and we take it into a medical college where there are people that specialize in certain medical fields. You take it on to a TVET environment, engineering. People that talk about engineering or that can tell you more about engineering. Imagine how engaging learning can become when you create these environments where people can actually utilize AI in learning. Because now, after I've shown you this, when I now say to you, think about AI in learning, is your thought different? Right? You're already thinking about it differently, aren't you? You're thinking about, I've actually seen where AI can be used as a learning tool directly to students. And your thoughts have changed. And right now, the most exciting thing about AI is also the most scary thing, right? And that's the fact that there's a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of things that we don't know. So to come back, to loop it back to your original answer, what's the best thing that we can do is to explore what we have. Right now, of course, we've been talking the whole morning about ethics and understanding the ethical boundaries around AI and these sort of things. And yes, they are very, very important to consider when we are dabbling or building around AI. But the reality is that I always use this example when I talk to parents about gaming, because we do a lot of work as well, with primary schools and high schools, and that was a very valid comment that you made earlier around where do we start these conversations. But whenever I speak to parents about gaming, I always use this example. I say to them, when you have kids, and by show of hands, how many people here have kids? Because you will immediately understand. When something is important for us and our child and their safety, what we do is we spend a lot of time as parents investing into it. Example, when your child has to go and obtain their driver's license, you as a parent do not hand them the car keys. Right? We don't do that. We put effort in. There's things we do. We send them for driving school classes, and we buy them books and videos, and then we take them up and down the driveway. And this is how you start the car. And eventually, they go for a license. And when they come back and they show you the piece of paper, you give them the keys. But what do we do with technology? A lot of parents just, here's the keys, good luck. Let me know how it turns out, right? So also, as educators, we have a responsibility to not hand the keys, right? We have a responsibility to educate and to teach children how to use these tools before we hand them the keys, right? That's a very important thing. All right, so